Basically, Airbnb said that all PMS-connected hosts, so mostly property managers, that were not already basically on a host fee model, we're moving to that starting October 27. And really, there was a lot of noise in the US about this because for some property managers who were not in this model, it meant going from the split fee model to host fee model. But for the rest of the world, that was probably already under this model, and the move was 4 years ago, but there was also a change. And in the sense that officially now, the rate for host fee is now 15.5%. At least it's official in the rest of the world. And it does mean for a lot of the world, actually for me, for example, my fee was 15. So I'm increasing to 15.5%. So for me too, I need to recalculate my prices. So that's probably why we're seeing people from all around the world wondering about this. Also, the way Airbnb communicated was super confusing. First, I read their page and I thought split fee was disappearing for everyone. Actually, if you read, no, this is split fee is staying. But if for some reason you were under the host fee model, but were not PMS connected, I don't know why you would be in this case, but anyway, imagine you will also be moving to 15.5% on December 1st. That's how I'm seeing things. Just the wording was super weird. Another point as well, as we all know, Airbnb is not just commissioned on a nightly rate. They also take money out of our cleaning fee, and other fees we have, obviously not on taxes. So that's good to know. So let's go through, first off, Monique or John, or before we go into the math, or Harley, did I get it? Was that fair enough? And that the reactions we heard for the confusion, is it something also you felt and you heard?
I'll chime in. Yeah, there was a lot of just confusion, and I think loudest voices were in the US because most operators in the US have been operating kind of in a unique way under the 3% fee model. And so that's where I think folks in the book direct industry and whatnot initially thought that this was Airbnb just taking more of your fee. And then as the dust settled down, I think everyone started to realize it's actually taking fee that the guests used to pay and bringing it into the host bucket. And so I think things have settled down a lot since then, but there's still a lot of confusion on where are they charging the fees? How much do we need to adjust by? So I think that's why this is a great conversation.
Thanks, John. All right, speaking of the US, let's start with the answer, and then I'll go to the math, US, and then Europe, for example. So the answer is what to do. So here, if you're in the US, as you said, you're probably in a split fee model where Airbnb was taking 3% out of you. So here the answer is like, if you're using a PMS, for example, the markup you have in your PMS should move now to 18.34%. We go into the math of why, but let's start with that. So basically, imagine I'm a PriceLabs customer. We PriceLabs are sending over the prices to your PMS. From there in your PMS, you may be able to put for several channel a markup. For example, the markup to Airbnb now should be set to 18.34% to make up for this increase in a host fee. Again, we'll debate through this later on how to do this, but in some cases for the fees, like cleaning fees, you can't add the markup straight into your PMS. Kind of depends. If you mark up your cleaning fees, if you need to increase it as well, because Airbnb is taking commission out of this, you also need in the end to have it increased by, compared with, let's say, zero commission, by also 18.34%. Now, it's math, but again, we'll go through this. It does mean now, of course, before, if you already had taken into account this 3% fee, and now you want to take into the 15.5 fee, you also need to increase your cleaning rate, but not by so much, by a little less, right? Which is here by 14.85. What I just mean to say is that if on my cleaning fee, I already had increased it on Airbnb to take into account the 3% they were taking out of me, I make a less big jump. Again, we'll talk about this. Interesting enough, again, now in Europe, for example, or other countries, we can say, yes, you also can have a markup, and I can give instruction with the same one. In here, it's the same because it's 15.5% they're taking out as a commission. So the final markup you need to have is 18.34% on your nightly fee. Let me go through that, and we'll see something. But what's very interesting as well, basically, we'll see the math. Like in a way, you can sort of, in the US, you can sort of increase your prices so that you make up for the increase in host fee, and the price is somewhat the same in for the guest. But for all of the countries, especially if you were, let's say, around 15% host fee, you moving up to 15.5%, And this cost is increasing. So you have to make a decision either to eat this up or pass it down to the host. And we'll talk with Hallie exactly about this. What do we do here? Any points so far before I go to the math for the US?
I think we should emphasize clarity on the fact that right now, this is only applying to PMS-connected hosts. It's going to come later in the pipeline for all US-based hosts. But as of right now, for the PMS-connected hosts, that markup needs to be in your PMS.
For all the others, I must say, we don't really know. So we'll see. But for the moment, indeed, it's really, as you exactly rightly said, here it's really for PMS connected, right?